easy.
Going. So red lights will appear on the gantry now.
And we go racing in Junior GP. It's a solid start from your pole sitter. Uriarte storms away actually at the front. It's straight away from the front row of the grid. Jesus Rios slots into second. Salmela at the moment in third, but he is battling away. Marco Morelli looking up the inside of Salmela, pushing them wide through turn 3, and Morelli up into second potentially at turn 3. They crack on the power though, heading down the back straight.
I don't think he could have wished for a more perfect start if he had wanted to. He's built up a big gap already to the number 97 behind him, heading into turn 5. And just look at the spray when you're not at the front of the field.
Yeah, plenty of spray further down the order, and it's going to make things very, very tricky. And Morelli having the moment on the rear. That's where we've seen the moment from Uriarte on the sighting lap. So clearly tricky out there on the left-hand side of the circuit. Usually the line you would take on the exit of turn 5, but in these conditions, super, super treacherous. Of course, now we make our way through. We carry on racing once more and head towards turn 8. Through the left we go. Casey O'Gorman sitting just behind his teammate at the moment. I'm sure the team would have had a couple of words on these opening laps just to relax, get settled in, because it's so easy to get a little bit too excited and then suddenly you make a mistake as Salmela looks down the inside, thinks better of it and backs out.
So easy to make a mistake in these conditions. Just see a couple of riders running slightly wide through the Imola chicane there. Uriarte's lead is huge already after just 3 sectors, as the number 54 Jesus Rios looks to defend his position but drops behind Rico Salmela.
Yeah, and that's going to lose him a little bit of ground there. And Casey O'Gorman on his rear tyre, glued to his rear tyre, but ends up alone. He's crashed out of this one, it seems. So really disappointing stuff there for him. He'll be hoping for a good result on board the 33, but they'll go back to the drawing board, of course, for round 4 of the season. Ballon, it was a home race for him. He came back after injury, and sadly it's an end on lap 1 of this opening lap. As now we continue to battle. Long lap penalties, of course, now coming through, and then they can take it. We've seen a couple of them taking it on the sighting laps. That I think that's going to prove to be absolutely crucial as we continue on this battle at the front. It is Uriarte leading the way by 3.7 seconds. What an incredible first lap.
An unbelievable opening lap. Got off the line well. We just see him coming from the chicane. Losing the rear, saving it on the curbs, and still building up a huge lead on that opening lap. He's pushing hard.
Oh, he's down at turn 5. Brian Uriarte has crashed out here in Junior GP. The sole race of the weekend, just 25 points up for grabs. And your championship leader, well, he's on the floor. He's trying to get the bike restarted. He's trying to bump start it. He's got no help from the marshals at the moment, just of where he is in the circuit. He's managed to get that one going though. So most importantly, the 51 has got the bike started again, and now it's time to regain your composure as we see the replay now. Tipping into turn 5 and just losing it nearly upright. The front end just locking there. A little bit too much braking pressure perhaps into the braking zone.
But so easy to do in these conditions. Maybe that first action
for the 78, as we do see another crash there further back in the field. That looks to be the number 13. So that's Danish on the ground. But he picks that one up straight away, and hopefully he can get that one restarted, because obviously all the damage is going to be on the right hand side, but it doesn't look to be too bad. Perhaps just maybe a bent hand back into position, but Zani at the front. What a start it's been so far. Of course, his teammate Jesus Rios has the long lap etc. to complete, so that will drop him down the order, and it has dropped him down the field as well. But it is Salmela looking up the inside. He thought better of it, and that has played into the advantage of Joel Esteban. They're so far in Junior GP, and he's starting to look like a real challenger for the title as he goes ahead of Casey O'Gorman.
He is just moving ahead of Casey O'Gorman at a place where, in these conditions, it's very tricky to. In the Nürburgring chicane, looks like he's got a lot more grip than Salmela and O'Gorman, so he's already building up a bit of a gap. Will he be able to chase Zani down?
Yeah, of course. Right now at the front, it's a KTM 1-2 from a Honda 3. She's crashed just 1 lap ago. They'll go nice and safe through here, you would think, trying not to push on too fast, as we do see Esteban currently holds the fastest lap of the race, a 2:04. And well, looking at the rest,
a lot of pace. Jesus Rios has come in and served his long lap penalty, so he can now just focus on fighting his way back through the field.
And now into the 202 bracket, a 202. Whatever you can do, I can do better. But Esteban, he does have the luxury of having Zani in front. And now Zani with the rain, if the rain's in terms of the 57, but O'Gorman under some pressure now from Salmela, you would have to say. For the final podium spot is losing the rear. Zani staying on board it. Once again, proven turn 5, a very, very slippery corner on exit.
It's the slowest corner on the track, so it doesn't look like it will be completely dry by the end of this race. So the pace will get faster. Zani will obviously lose a bit of time to Esteban following that huge moment, but catching is one thing, parting is another. Also, maybe Esteban will feel more comfortable at this point, just following him and finding the reference of the track.
Well, yeah, of course, still 7 laps remaining in this one. Still plenty of overtaking opportunities. There's still plenty of laps yet to complete. We're only 3 laps in. And still time for the conditions to change yet again. And he's looking very, very feisty. Update on the 51 of Uriarte. He's up into P19 at the moment. Actually, just shot up the order to P16. So it looks like 202.3 Esteban, so clearly pushing on.
Esteban has the pace at the moment. He obviously feels like he's got the grip to push just on Uriarte. Now it's damage limitation mode.
If you make a mistake, if you score no points, it's a long, long time for that to be playing on your mind, and that crash to be replaying on your mind before we get to round 4.
Exactly, and if he can score points, maybe he will just forget about that crash a few more times as he looks to regroup ahead of Artbox.
And so far this race, actually, in terms of racing in the rain, it has been textbook at a corner, quick at a corner, to get ahead of his rival, and now, I would guess, try and pull a pin until he has a comfortable margin.
It looks like, I mean, he's already building up a gap just a few corners after making the overtake, so I suspect Esteban will just try and build up a
straight crash for the number 4 at turn 3, right, okay, but super easy to crash out in these conditions. Esteban, let's not forget, he started from P14 on the grid. He started quite the way down the order, and now chipped away, worked at it, leading the field through as Casey O'Gorman has actually just got ahead of Zani. So can O'Gorman hold on to it going down the back straight? You'd have to
build up enough of gap to perhaps be able to defend that position into turn 5. Obviously Esteban will use that to pull out a second ahead of O'Gorman, but the Irishman, Esteban has gone wide at turn 5. O'Gorman on the apex. Has he got an opportunity to take lead? He has.
Yeah, nice safe move there from Casey and Zani, actually, both of them looking to the left, just checking that they were not going to clip Esteban, but O'Gorman now hits the front. The Irishman in P1. The 67 leads the field through, and Esteban, he's pushing on. He's getting a little bit frustrated, I think, after that mistake. He just needs to keep his cool, keep calm as Salmela enters the podium fight. He's up into P3 now on board the Honda. That's going to demote Zani back down to 4th as well. Additions of a mix of manufacturers at the front. This Magny-Core circuit has delivered in terms of action so far here.
It has in this race. We see Esteban, is he going to have a look at turn 15? He goes up the inside of O'Gorman, retakes lead. O'Gorman cutting back on the number 67. We just wait to see how that plays out. Esteban back in the lead.
And Salmela, he's caught up a lot to these front 2. And although that will be a little bit from them scrapping it out at the front, 7 struggling with race pace at half race distance. Of course, as the laps tick on, wherever the conditions improve or get worse, the riders usually get more confidence, and that's when you see the lap times coming down, and perhaps Zani
times coming in the 201, so the track is getting faster, or riders gaining more confidence, as you said, to push a little bit more in the closing stages of this race.
Yeah, it certainly is, and that was Marco Morelli and David Gonzalez, who's these top 3 or 4 riders, as we do see this battle actually further down the order, and this is your fastest lap rider, number 11, following the...
Apart from Uriarte, you're going to follow Morelli at this point.
Yeah, you certainly are, and well, Marco Morelli, he continues to set the pace as Uriarte continues. Second finish is definitely on the cards.
It looks like it might be. In fact, even he after the crash.
Yeah, it certainly would. I mean, if he could finish inside top 10, you'd have to say there's nothing, not too much he could be complaining about an overall result. After that mistake earlier on, it would be a real good damage limitation. But Rammerstorfer as well now, as we do see a rider down just to that corner. The marshals running out to help. We're just going to wait and see exactly who that is, and that is Zani.
Probably again a bit too much power, lost the grip, and the bike couldn't say yes.
Is another crasher in this one. So that is one of the... They'll make their way back into pit lane for the time being. That was Dodo Boggio down on the deck. So helping the marshals straight back into pit lane. So the final corner proven to be tricky. We did speak about it earlier on, how tricky the final chicane can be, of course. And actually, after on the exit of the final corner, he just got on the power, lost the rear, spun up and re-gripped, and down on the deck he went as well from O'Gorman, and Salmela will get themselves